Start how you want to continue. My friend Anna gave me this advice in what ended up being the most challenging and isolating years of my life. She said, start how you want to continue, and it was parenting advice, and I had no idea what she meant. You see, I was a new mom. I was newly married. We'd been married for about 2 years or so, and my husband was working full-time while he would also go to school part-time. So he'd go to work every day, come home in the afternoon, change clothes, grab a bite to eat, and then go to school at night. In the middle of all that, I was working several part-time jobs, and one of them was a new job. I was learning this new job, and it was remote, so I was working at home trying to figure it out. And my son, he would do this thing every night where he would scream for 2 hours when I put him to bed. He did not like going to sleep. So I was going back and forth between trying to get some work done, learn this job, to trying to soothe and comfort my son and be a mom. And I was juggling both things and not knowing how to do that. In that first year, I did manage to get some time to myself and invest in myself a little bit. I went out with some friends one time. I went out one time and spent time with people. So as you can imagine, I was overwhelmed, exhausted, isolated, burnt out, all of these things. And really I was confused a lot because start how you want to continue, all this parenting advice, like what does it mean? I had no idea. So I just did not know what to do. Well, fast forward to now, my son is now 5 and my daughter I also have a 3-year-old daughter. They're incredible, and parenting is one of my most remarkable undertakings. And when we as parents realized, my son's about 3 or 4, we realized that we were angry parents and probably just honestly really stressed out parents. And so we went and got some help because we wanted to start how we wanted to continue. And that meant if we wanted to keep this going as angry and stressed parents, we had to do something about it, or because we didn't want that for our kids. We wanted our lives to be adventures and not nightmares. We want our kids' lives to be adventures and not nightmares. And as we're learning to be calm parents and relevant ones, emphasis on learning, we went and got help because we really wanted to start how we wanted to continue. I'm convinced that this advice is actually really great advice, and it applies really well to every undertaking, not just to parenting, but particularly to leadership and to business, because you want to start out how you want it to go. And here's the thing about starting, is that you don't have to have all of your ducks in a row to start. You just start. Take, for example, when I was in my 20s, I had this idea that I really wanted to be married. I wanted to be in a partnership because that was the next thing in my life. I grew up in this conservative culture, and I understood that once you did all the right things, you graduated from high school, you went to college, then you'd get married, you'd have kids. And as a woman, I had my college degree to fall back on in case something happened to my husband and I needed to work or needed that college degree to help me out, So I'd done everything right. I'd gone to college. I got the degree. I'd even gotten a job. And I was like, why is this not happening? This is the next thing. And this is what I really, really want. And so I was so frustrated and angry. And at the same time, I had this dream. I desperately wanted to build my own furniture, because I love construction. I love anything having to do with wood and woodworking. You can see a couple of different things around here because I really love seeing things created out of wood. And so I would just soak it up any chance I got. Anytime I saw somebody building something, I'd pay attention to every little detail. And my dream was to build my own bedroom suite. So I had this friend, Jonathan, and Jonathan, every time we'd be on the phone, he'd say, "How's it going with your bedroom furniture?" And every time I'd say, "Oh, well, I haven't started because I'm waiting until I get married so I can build it with my husband." But the actual translation of this was I had no idea how to even use a saw. I knew nothing really about woodworking. I just liked watching it. I thought it was a man's job, that I wasn't capable of it. And not just that I wasn't capable, but for some reason I thought that I wasn't even allowed to do this kind of work because it was meant for men. And It was meant for me and my husband, for me to just kind of give the ideas and tag along, And so I just hadn't even started to do these things at all. Then when I was 29, all of a sudden I had this realization that I loved being single. I didn't want to be married. So now I had a problem. How on earth would I fulfill these grand dreams of mine without a husband? I even had like this idea for my bedroom suite. I had it kind of mapped out in my head. The footboard was going to be this richly carved mahogany piece, and it would have a carving of the southern hemisphere on it, and the headboard would have the northern hemisphere, and then there'd be other furniture pieces to match that. So I had these ideas, but I just wasn't executing them because I thought that I couldn't. And then when I realized that I didn't want to be married, I thought, what am I going to do? I can't fulfill these dreams. So I just started asking around. I asked some friends. I had some questions. I went down to the hardware store / lumberyard. It was like half a mile from my house, and just asked people questions. Started putting some things together. And before I knew it, with magically, although honestly, not so magically because I had all this help and I put in the work, I built a bed. It was not my extravagant, richly carved mahogany bed, but it was a bed. It was mine, and I had built it. You don't have to have everything in place to start. You just start. And so then other things for me started happening. I had this shop in my backyard, this shed in my backyard at my rental house, and I started putting together a little shop. I went to and bought a drill. I bought this it was my first real tool that I bought. It was this shiny yellow DeWalt cordless 12-volt drill, which is really nothing today's standards, but then it was pretty amazing. And so I bought that. I rented a saw. My dad came to town and he helped me. I got some plans online and I built a dresser. I'm actually still using the dresser today. It's a changing table now, but I still use it. And I still have that pride when I'm using it that I had built this thing. And then from there, I escalated to some other projects. I designed and built my own kitchen island, did some things for friends. My landlord even said, hey, listen, I'm seeing you out in your shop building all this stuff all the time. I've got actually a bigger shed and I'll move it there for you. Are you interested? Yeah, of course. Obviously, I'd be interested in this. So he moves the shed, wires it up to electricity for me. I've got this really big shop. And then one day a friend of mine said, hey, I know this guy who owns a shop and he always needs workers and he needs help. So you should call him and check him out and go over there. So I went over there. He hired me, even though I had no clue what I was doing. I knew a little at this point, I guess, but he hired me. Went over there, and on day one, I meet this guy named Chaz. And Chaz and I have now been married for 7 years. We have 2 kids, this wonderful house. We have a shop. And the very first gift that he ever bought me, we'd only been dating for a month. And it was my birthday, and he bought me a table saw. Yeah, he knew how to win me over. So we used that saw to build a crib for our son. I didn't have everything in place. I just started. And this is how it is also for your well-being. If you are waiting for all of your ducks to be in a row, for all of your worries, all of your problems, all of the things going on your to-do lists to be in place or taken care of before you start managing your own well-being, you might be waiting a while. From that time that I first had the dream to build my own furniture till I actually did it was nearly a decade. And it wasn't until I believed that I was capable, till I believed that it was possible, to believe that it was my responsibility to pursue my dreams, to take some ownership of that, and to believe that, I had to get through all of those negative beliefs, all of those things that I was holding onto, all these thoughts that I didn't deserve this, that I had to have men next to me, I had to have all these things into place. It wasn't until I got through all of that and realized that I was worth this effort of following and pursuing my dreams did I actually do that. And the same has applied to my own well-being. You know, I mentioned that first year when I was burnt out and I did something one time for myself. Since then, I've managed to do a lot more things for myself. I have built a business. I have gone and taken care of myself. I go out to coffee. I rest. I connect with people. Invest in yourself and start your building plan for being healthy right now.